And you are live with Dave Jose. I wanted to get with you guys real quick, give you a update on what's happening between the Board of Supervisors and the Arizona Legislature, the Senate. I wanted to kind of break this down for you guys because there's some powerful things that are happening, and you can't see everything that's happening. So I always try to make sure that I give you guys good information, not just good information though. I excuse me. I try to give you good information, but then I try to give you actual quality action steps that allows for you to be able to step up and get involved in what's going on. I don't believe in just talking about plans. I don't believe in just waiting for somebody else to do it. I don't believe um, in anything like that. I believe that the people have all political power. I think that we forgot our role. So it became easier for government officials to bypass what it is that our rights are. But when you really, really, really look at it, I'm gonna pray real quick and then I'll get going. Everybody, please share this, get this to everybody because a lot of people want to know what's going on. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for this day. Thank you for blessing us and keeping us. Thank you for all you do, Father. Thank you for allowing us to be able to be alive to see what's going on in these times. Thank you, Father, for allowing us to be able to stand and fight. Thank you, Father, for letting us be able to see the benefits of the work that we do. And thank you, Father, for letting other people be able to see as well. We thank you so much, Father, for all you do. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. What's up, Belinda? You better let me make sure this is you. I sent you a message on the app or whatever. You need to confirm who you are because somebody's been using your devices or something like that or something. So me and you need to talk. But anyway, um, excuse me. So, you know, one of the things that are super important is that we are dealing in a time in our nation where I keep hearing people say like, "Oh, we're going to primary these people out of office, in 2022. We're going to do this in 2024 and vote you out." You know, for me, this is like win or lose right now. There is no such thing of voting somebody out, and I'll tell you why. If you're somebody who works out or somebody who does anything that's difficult, the very first time you give yourself an excuse to not do something will always be the hardest time. When you swap into the second time, it becomes easier to quit. So if you don't force people to do audits and to take action and to be accountable today, if they see you give up on pushing them today, tomorrow is going to be easier for them to say screw you because you didn't do anything yesterday. If you don't keep pressure applied on yourself and on others, what happens is that people start to get complacent, they start to get comfortable, and they no longer believe that you are what you say you are. And so when we look at the Arizona legislature, for the last, let's say, 70, 80 years, they had nobody instructing them except for lobbyists and attorneys, right? So attorneys have been coming in and meeting with our legislature and telling them, hey, we need you to write a statute to be able to take kids. We need you to write a statute to be able to take cars. We need you to write a statute to be able to do this or that. And then they can get involved with all types of things that harm the people. Why? Because the people have rights that are in the state constitution. The government workers get hired swearing that they will never infringe upon those rights. But then at the same time, the people are not reminding them of the rights. Okay, well then, you know, we gonna need to verify something, Belinda. I'm hoping it's you, but I'm gonna block this account too. You know how I am. Like after what happened in my group, there was somebody with an area code with your same number. So we could talk about it later, but I'm just letting you know. So anyway, guys, what I want you to realize is that um, you know we the law tells us we are to instruct our representatives. So for years we have went not giving a single instruction to our representatives. Hey, Cat, we were supposed to give our representatives instructions. We have not been doing that. So they get used to listening to everybody else. They get used to um, taking orders from companies that are giving them money backdoor. Now, what's up, Daniel? Now, some people will say, well, no, this is not happening in Arizona. There's no money being given backdoor. Well, I have a book that teaches about the Arizona Constitution. It's made by a woman named Tony McClory. And Tony actually was an attorney general through multiple governors. And Tony McClory told that there was a legislative body called the Thieving 13th because they did so much wrong against the people and stole so much. And it even explained it how the legislature here had a situation where I think it's the legislature or the governor, they got a check for $25,000 to buy the legislature back in the day, and they returned $20,000 of the 25,000 and said it doesn't cost that much to buy us. So what you got to understand is for a long time there's been a lot of unchecked fraud in Arizona, and this ever since it was a territory. So this is just how they roll, good old boy type of state. Now I want you to understand that it is not always going to be the same way. At one time, it would have been more fair for the people. But the longer that you allow people to commit fraud and cheat and steal and not carry out their duties that they swear to carry out, the more that they're going to do wrong and the worse they'll get. Now, when you start swapping things over, and I'm telling you guys this for a reason, when you start swapping things over to where you get to the point where you're sending notices to the legislature, you're sending them affidavits, you're giving them notice that you realize what their job description is and that they're acting outside of it and that you will not take it, right? And then you start teaching other people to do the same. What happens is that it's kind of like telling your kid to clean up your room. You're like, hey, go clean up your room. And they're like, no, I don't want to. And you're like, if you don't clean up your room, you're not going outside, you're not playing, you're not having video games, you're not doing anything else. So you might want to clean that room up. Do I have to right now? Yes, you have to right now. It's growing pains. When they start learning responsibility, it hurts them for a second emotionally because they know they have to do something that they're not used to doing yet. And then after you get to the point where you start teaching your kids, you get them to clean up their room, and then you start giving them 99 praises for every one thing that you say that might be the opposite way. So then you condition them. You give them blessings. You say, "Oh, you cleaned up your room on your own. I'm going to go ahead and give you this treat. I'm going to do this for you. I'm going to do that for you. I'm going to let you play outside for 30 minutes longer because you did what was right." When you start teaching the kids to take joy and pride in doing the right thing, then psychologically it becomes burned into their mind that I am rewarded when I am good, but I get in trouble when I am bad. And so we have to instruct the legislature the same way. The legislature is our servants, they are not our leaders. We don't follow them. They are not our rulers. They are people who handle our business. They don't even write laws that deal with our rights. If they write something that they even want to make it look like deals with our rights, it is not a law. It's not even legit. So, understanding that, you look at Arizona Board of Supervisors, um, you look at the legislature. So back from the beginning of all the stuff happening in the election and stuff being crazy, what ended up happening was is that Josh Barnett, someone who's part of the same PMA as I, we get together and we start discussing what's happening, and we decide that we want to deal with what we can obviously see are some things that are FRAUD, right? We could see some things are wrong. We could see that people are giving us the same story of how they were forced to use magic markers rather than pens, how people wanted to take their ballot and push a green button and then put it back in if it didn't go in right or something didn't happen right. They had all these reports, and then some people would not. They wouldn't allow them to look at what was going on, even though they were hired to work or they were there to work inside of the elections facilities to tell what the or deal with the audits and make sure there was fairness. So there was all these different things, and there's some even crazier stories. I mean, some really shady junk. So, with all that being said, um, there's tons of people giving affidavits and people from different places telling the same story, and I'm like, this is kind of crazy. Like, this isn't like something that's happenstance. This is a concerted effort to do the same thing across counties. And so we decided to work with people and put things together so that people actually write affidavits, letting it be known that there were some bad things that happened. We made sure the jurisdiction was right. We made sure that the status and standing was right so that the affidavits would stick. And pretty much every affidavit that we were involved with collecting came out good, was used in different places to show real fraud. They weren't the ones that were kicked out in cases. As a matter of fact, we helped one person who did an affidavit and had a court case against the Board of Supervisors, Katie Hobbs, I believe it was, the Secretary of State, and the governor. And that affidavit was actually admitted in the Supreme Court case. And I believe that it might be the only evidence that stuck using the right jurisdiction, the right affidavit, the right format, the right status and standing. It was admitted into a Supreme Court case. And so there is evidence of very, very, very bad things happening. And some of the things that the woman said in there and the evidence that she attached to it was unbelievable. And maybe you guys will get a chance to hear what she said. Her name is Stacy. She did go through a Supreme Court case, which at the same time, hey, Shannon, I did inform her that her case would be kicked out on technicalities because the status and standing was wrong in the general case, but the affidavits can stand alone, and inside the case it was admitted and it was done correctly. So there could have been a better way for her to do her case where she could have just killed that case and came back with the case under common law only, and most likely she would have won and destroyed them. She can still take her affidavit, which is admitted its evidence, and now take that evidence and open a new case or go to the legislature and get redress of grievances. She can do that like immediately, and she should win with no problem. I believe the fact that people are watching and standing up and growing, like there has been a crash course in Arizona, and this is why the Board of Supervisors and the legislature is fighting. Because let me go back to what Josh and I did. We took part in collecting affidavits and giving notice to the legislature with affidavits showing fraud, right? We gave notice to the Board of Supervisors through Steve Chutry, which Steve Chutry was hit so hard by the damning evidence that Josh gave and the fact that Josh gave him an affidavit that trapped him so tight that Steve Chutry actually went on a show with Josh to talk to him. He went to a special meeting with a very, very, very powerful person and got to get filled in on some of the stuff that happened. And he was the only one to vote to have the audit when they voted. Now, that affidavit that Josh sent was devastating, like mind-boggling. It would strike fear and terror into you if you wanted to cheat or do wrong. It wasn't anything threatening, but it was fire. So when you guys first saw this situation start to pile up or whatever, you'll notice that the Board of Supervisors kept calling for emergency meetings. Usually they would call for an emergency meeting right after Josh Barnett gave them notice by affidavit. And he gave them instructions. So he was instructing them, and they were having a battle because, as you can see, something is happening that the Board of Supervisors does not want to let the world see, right? There's something going on that even at the threat of jail, they are more worried about what the consequences would be on the other side. So who knows what that is? I think I might have an idea what it is, but I won't say conclusively because I don't speak conspiracy theory. I speak facts and knowledge and understanding, right? I speak wisdom. So I don't give a freak if you got fraud in the cases. I don't give a freak who voted for who. I don't give a freak about any of that. I just want to stand on my right to be able to use the Constitution to instruct our representatives and get them to do what we are owed by the Constitution. That's it, right? To me, if Biden won or Trump won, I'll still be fine. Like, I'll still live life the same way. I'll still do stuff in the private. I'll still fight and help people. Doesn't matter to me who's there. I would like it if Trump was there because he likes to arrest traffickers and do what's right. I don't think Biden would do the same thing, but I don't have a personal gripe where Trump has to win or Biden has to win. What I want is justice, and I want to know if there was cheating because with my own eyes, saw people give testimony, swear under penalty of perjury, and at the same time tell the same stories from different locations. To me, that's impossible, right? Almost statistically impossible. Now, Josh was giving notices to and affidavits to the Board of Supervisors. At the same time, the Senate seemed like they didn't want to come back into action because of this whole COVID thing and they were just chilling and didn't want to move. So then Josh started putting affidavits into the senators. So he served Karen Fann at her house. He served other government officials at their house. He served them at work. And he let them know that the law says that they have to do certain things. So after his first affidavit turning in, they like 5 people or 6 people came in and were at a rally, and they started trying to step in to figure this out and do things. Another affidavit went out, and I think I sent that one, and Josh put it online so everybody could see, and so the government workers could see, and then Josh did one more, and like 29, 28, 30 almost senators, I'm sorry, legislative body members came together to fight and to say that they want to audit and they want to make sure that people's voices are heard. So that happened behind the scenes. And a lot of action was taken and a lot of things moved. Now, why we have to, you got to go out and come back in, James. Um, a lot of these things happen behind the scenes when we know how to direct or instruct our legislature. So the law says, or the highest law, the constitutions around the states, will tell you that the people have a right to instruct their legislature. So I want to ask you, have you been writing affidavits or any types of notices to tell the legislature what to do, to tell the judges what they're to do? See, in Arizona, our Constitution says a frequent recurrence to fundamental principles is essential to a free government. So, if you want a free government and you don't want them trying to turn around and enslave you with power you gave them, you have to instruct them and tell them what to do. So, Josh hit the Board of Supervisors through Trutry first. Trutry caught on real freaking quick what needed to happen and what was right and what was wrong, and he started trying to show that he wanted some action to be taken. He agreed to audit. Um, Now, some of the other guys, they may think because they're dealing with attorneys that they're not responsible, but Josh did put in their affidavits that notice to principal is notice to agent, notice to agent is notice to principal. So they all get notice when he gave notice. Now, on the other side, with the legislature, he hit Bowers with the affidavit and Karen Fann with the affidavit. And notice to agent, notice to principal, same thing. So the whole legislature gets it. And then you see Karen Fann and those guys doing subpoenas. Now, I don't believe, and this is just my own opinion, I don't believe that she really wants to do the subpoenas. I don't believe she really wants to push super hard. But I believe that because she's getting notice and she's getting affidavits and she understands that she could be personally responsible, and more and more people are learning their rights and that it is their duty to instruct the representatives. I think she realizes, holy crap, like this could be really bad for me because I am actually breaking the law, and they're showing me the law. See, she's not just getting notices that say, "Hey, I don't like what you're doing," or "Hey, I don't like that this is taking so long," or we're not just seeing a situation where people are complaining online. She's actually getting notices with the Constitution in there of Arizona and the different parts that she swore and guaranteed she would keep. And then she's not keeping them. And so what happens is that the people are realizing, oh gosh, like the government has not been doing what they're supposed to do. And they're telling to the point that Josh Barnett, Stephen, Big Steve Daniels, Daniel Wood, and some of the other guys have actually collected notices to give to the legislature. And I know Josh by himself turned in over 50, like earlier last week or later last week. He turned in over 50 by himself. We know that another powerful person turned in a notice. And so those notices were instructing the legislature to bring in certain people for an audit. From what we're seeing, the very man, Colonel Waldron, that we demanded do the audit is actually on the list to do the audit. So everything that we've asked for, we're seeing the legislature bend and start to give it to us because we're instructing them. Now, there's some other work that's being done. Josh's team, who worked with him with his campaign, it's We the People AZ Alliances, I think is what it's called. And forgive me if I made a mistake in how you say it. But I think it's We the People AZ Alliance, and I think it's We the People AZ Alliance.com. They're doing, actively doing a recall on the board of supervisors, right? So they're actively doing a recall. We also put in a notice that we wanted the board of supervisors impeached. So I believe that that'll be something that if all of us get together and we start to put in those notices, that the legislature will realize they have the power because they haven't been taught. The attorneys won't tell them because the attorneys seem to have some interests that are against the people. Like attorneys make money when there's conflict. Attorneys stick together. In a lot of cases, you see when Trump and Sidney Powell and Giuliani decided to go after this election situation, you'll find that the bar members started coming out and saying they were going to attack the licenses of these people and anybody who helped them. So you got to realize that this entity is working against the best interests of the people because it's the people's right. It ain't about Trump. The people have a right to know what happened in the elections for the safety and security of our nation in the future and even now. So we have to push and find out what's really going on because no election will ever be the same. No election will ever be effective if there's cheating. Period. You'll never change the government back if they can just sit there and trick you and say, yeah, this is the way people voted. No, you can't see it. Shut the freak up. You better be quiet. That's not how life works. So, guys, I'm telling you, we got some good stuff happening. The Board of Supervisors did get highly upset because the Senate now put out a resolution for the arrest of the Board of Supervisors, and they'll just take the machines anyway. So the thing is, guys, Josh Barnett and I worked together to get together an affidavit that we sent out to Trump. And Trump, if he did what was right, he would have listened to Sidney Powell and General Flynn, who got affidavits from Josh Barnett and another person. And the affidavits ordered for the taking of the machines so that they could be counted and everything could be done right to make sure there was an election integrity. Now, I'm not trying to be negative, but Trump dropped the ball, you know? Trump was listening to other people. I guess he had attorneys in the White House. The guy Patrick Byrne or Byrne, whatever his name is, um, and I don't say that in disrespect. I can't remember what his name is. I don't want to, keep butchering it. But he was there in the White House and he heard what was talked about from Sidney Powell and General Flynn. And General Flynn and Sidney Powell were 100% looking at the orders that we gave Trump and telling him, hey, you can do this. Hey, you by right in the Constitution and Executive Order 13848, you have the authority to take the machines, to audit it, to make sure that people have a Republican form of government. You have a 100% right. It has nothing to do with the Insurrection Act. We do know that there was chatter that came out saying that his White House chief of staff um, was telling him, no, 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 you can't do this. And they were having an argument saying, don't listen to Sidney Powell. She can't win any cases. Don't listen to this person or that person. And the reason I think that they were saying don't listen is because it was 100% correct and it was on point. And the bar members seemed to be working together to keep this thing hidden. And so we as the people have all political power. Guys, we don't have a contract with the bar as the people. We have a contract with our servants. And the servants, I don't know, like people say Congress was arrested. I don't have any proof of it, so I don't speak on it. Like, I don't know for sure. I know in Burma, where they cheated on elections, the military took over. And in Myanmar, where they cheated on elections, the military took over. Um, I did get some intel that said that General Flynn went to like 17 different, well, multiple different nations overseas after the election and talked to them, and they were all planning on going after their governments because they knew that they were cheating in the elections. Now, I can't say if Myanmar or the other nation was one of those. I don't know. But I do know one thing that is powerful because a lot of people follow the whole Q thing. I don't follow Q. I never been able to understand what in the world he was talking about, or she, or them, or whatever it is, um, because it's spoken in such a cryptic way. Who would ever know? I didn't understand it, so I didn't even read it. I didn't look at it. I didn't listen to it. A lot of people will say to me, "Come on, David, trust the plan." I say, "I'm not trusting anybody's plan. Like, I'll trust God." Because let's just be real. The whole Q thing, they were saying, oh, on Pence is going to send it back to the states and everything is going to be good, and then whatever. That ended up a lie. Then they were saying, oh, well, Trump is going to be the president. They're going to arrest all of them on the day of inauguration. That was a lie. You know, they said now they're saying, oh, it's going to be March something or April something. I'm like, dude, stop giving me dates. I don't want to hear this junk no more. Like, I don't want to hear it. Like, because what happens is that people, if there's a plot to take over America, they're going to do it very similar how they did it to um, Germany. And when the Jesuits set up to take over Germany, they act like they had people fighting against Hitler at the same time that they had Hitler fighting. And they funded both sides. And so what you'll find is that in many movements, there are people who are put there who are not really taking any action, that are made to look like they're the biggest action takers so other people calm down. And I'm not down for that. I believe this. The law says that we are to instruct our representatives. If we're not instructing our representatives, we're not doing our end of the bargain. So we need to take those servants that work for us and we need to give them a job description and we need to help them to succeed. And we need to fight actively because results actually happen when we fight. If you look at, what's been happening with this whole board of supervisors thing and this whole legislature thing, one gentleman who was the treasurer for Maricopa County told me, he said, look, man, I have never seen the board of supervisors and the legislature fighting each other this way. I have never seen them working against each other when it was stuff wrong. I have never seen this. And so I know that the work that we're doing, we're not trusting plans. We're actually taking positive action, going super hard, and we are doing things that blocks anybody from being able to disrespect us and our rights. And the more that we teach people how to do this, the more that it is obvious that they're breaking the law. The more that it's obvious that they're trying to cheat us. The more that it's obvious. See, the government loves to do things that are dirty when you have bad actors working. But they love to do dirty things when it's behind the scenes and in the dark. When it starts coming out into the open, they don't really like to do the dirty things the same way anymore. And so we're seeing growing pains. We're seeing the government officials starting to respond to us and do what we ask, what we request, or what we demand. We don't beg, we just tell them what we want and how we want things to be, and they're following. And so you got to get them. Use your state constitution. Um, so what we have to do is we have to continue to put pressure there by letting the legislature know what we desire and what's going to happen. Hey, look, we want the audit done now. Hey, we want these people impeached. Hey, we want these people arrested. Hey, we want this. We want that. Right? Give them something to do. Get Signal app and I'll talk to you, Chang. And how did you hear about me? So, what we have to understand is that there's a lot of bad things that happen, but as we are acting in the way that we are supposed to and using our state constitutions that they swore to and holding them to it and giving them notice and affidavits and doing them correctly, we're seeing that massive action is coming. That different things are happening that has not happened in a very long time. And I believe that as soon as the rest of us jump in and understand that we have to do this, the better it's going to get. Now, what else can we do as an action plan? Well, the legislature doesn't write anything for your rights, but when the legislature is out of control and telling entities that they can do things against you, take stuff from you, what we have to do is we in Arizona we can start writing initiatives to change everything, and the government cannot interfere. The legislature cannot block it. The governor cannot veto it. It goes directly into the Constitution, and they're blocked. They're stuck. And so we have to start creating not legislation through begging the legislature, because we know the attorneys seem to not want anybody to get their legislation through. I've seen amazing people um, writing legislation, helping the legislature to try to get things passed. And I seen it get tabled. I seen attorneys in the that work with the legislature seem to block it at all costs. Anybody who tries to write anything making CPS accountable, they try to block it, which we control the government. So for them to be trying to block us and what it is that we desire is treason. It is literally going against your creator. And so we have seen some amazing things with the Board of Supervisors and the Senate. So um, what we have to do is put out more notices, put out more affidavits. We have to get together and start studying our state constitutions. We need to collectively keep 500,000 to a million people. Um, you don't want their business service. You do not want your, that's fighting them, Christian's army. um, but guys, what you got to understand is that we have a role in making all the legislation that is going to be used to handle our business. There is not supposed to be. So let me tell you what initiative, because somebody asked. Initiative is where the people are using their power to declare what the law will be. So you didn't tell me how you heard about me, Chang. So the people will use their power to put something in the Constitution as law. So, for instance, I think it takes like 15% of the the last number for the elected governor. So let's say if he had 1 million votes, it would take 15% of those million votes. You get those that many people to sign on a petition. Once you do that, it goes on the ballot for the next time that you are going to um, the next time you are going to have a vote. So in the 20 so the initiatives we're doing now, we have like 17 months to be able to get the so many signatures. So if we decide to just get the people together, this is why I use CRMs. I let people go to my page and put in their name, phone number, and email, because when we amass enough people, we can all send everything out. The initiative is not the same as a petition, but a petition is what activates it. So you go to the Secretary of State, they're not allowed to interfere with it. They're not allowed to give you legal advice. They can't tell you how to word it or not word it. It's just of the people. And then what happens is you take that petition, you go get, let's say, 150,000 or 300,000 people to sign it. When they sign it, you bring it back to the Secretary of State. They count the signatures, and then they say, okay, you got the number of petition signatures necessary to put your initiative on the ballot. So when people got the whole decriminalizing of marijuana in Arizona, they used an initiative in the and that's how they did it. And so in the same way, we can do the same thing, and the government officials cannot interfere. So when it comes to CPS stealing your kids, we can actually put in there that the CPS state workers will not partner with any federal program that allows them to take children, and we can kill the whole freaking program. No more begging the legislature, no more asking them to do what's right, no more asking them to make it a felony if they lie to steal kids, which they do all the time. We can stand in and do it. And so what happens is that this is how we seriously fight. And guys, if you talk to Josh Barnett, he'll tell you, like, Josh laughs sometimes because we discuss and talk about the law often, like people get on the phone and talk about basketball or football. And when we set everything up to go after these people and let them see the truth and educate them, we don't do it mean spirited, in a mean spirited way. We lovingly teach them and try to give them a chance to do us right. And then if they don't want to do us right, we come with like crazy pressure. And they're watching how we're teaching the people and that the people are learning their roles. And as they see the people learning their role, they realize, holy crap, the most dangerous thing for government who's doing wrong is the perception of the people that they're doing wrong. So they want the perception that they're fair. But when people find out the real law and find out, holy crap, they're stealing kids when they're not supposed to and making money off of it. This is a fraud. They're working in the private and the public at the same time. This is like breaking the law. They're taking kids and not letting fathers and mothers see their kids because they're making so much money off of child support. They got to split up the houses. Wrong, right? We realize that they're breaking the law, which we didn't realize 5 years ago. But now that we understand, we are actually causing the government officials to stand under us as they're supposed to. And so I'm giving you guys some secret intel so you can see that the Bible tells you how the wicked will run when nobody's fleeing. The Bible tells you that 1,000 will flee from one righteous. And what's happening is that um, the government is starting to realize that we are the rulers, we are the leaders in our Republican form of government, and they are the servants. They don't get to have a will in what happens. They don't get to say, well, listen, we want to have it this way, and y'all don't get to say nothing because y'all just are regular people and we're the politicians. No, you work to take care of our interests and our individual rights. You don't get to trample our individual rights. And so The thing is, guys, is that we can take down all of these wicked systems. You're going to see it happen in Arizona first by God, in the name of Jesus Christ. And when you see it happen in Arizona, you're going to see the other states follow. And I told you guys, I think it was on November 5th or 6th. I got on a video and I said, listen, guys, Arizona is going to shake the nation and everybody's going to follow what we're doing because we're going to give affidavits of the fraud. Those same affidavits of the fraud are the same affidavits that were given to the legislature, letting them see actual real fraud done in the right format. When they saw the actual fraud done in the real correct format, and I don't mean like procedural or technical format, I mean right standing, status, and jurisdiction. When they saw it, they realized that they touched fraud, and they knew that if they didn't deal with the fraud, they would be liable for the fraud. Misprison of felony and misprison of treason. They didn't want to be part of that, so they started moving. And I'm telling you, in every other state, you guys can do the same thing. It's just a decision to look at what your rights are and to start to stand on them. Nobody ever is going to respect your rights if you don't tell them you have them. And you don't want to wait until there's a hostile situation to tell people your rights. You don't want to be on the side of the road and say, I know my rights. I know my rights. Police officer, you can't tell me to do this. And they didn't train a police officer on your rights. So you want to take those rights and put them inside of affidavits and notices and give them to the government officials today, tomorrow, right? So what we got to do is get to work on that. And I'm telling you, we are getting um, we're making much headway. We're getting many good things to happen. And their courage is contagious. The courage is contagious. When people start seeing what the right thing is and they start understanding that you're doing it, at first nobody will follow you. They're going to sit back and watch and say, "Well, when I see that you get some remedy, then maybe I'll try." Right? Weak soft junk, but this is how the world works. So you don't wait, right? Yeah, we did serve and put Congress on notice, I think in the end of 2018 or 19 at November 9th or September 9th. We went to the Rayburn building, I think it's called, and the other building of the legislature. I can't remember which one we did the meeting in, but then after that, we put them all on notice. But that's the thing, guys. We've seen a big number of kids coming back all around the country and people being able to stand. Robert Slavin just helped somebody in a hospital who they were trying to take their kid, and he used the 1935 Social Security Act, just like I showed you guys, and showed it to the sheriff and made the people leave. He showed how they took samples from the mother and they didn't have a warrant. And the sheriff was like, yeah, that's unlawful. Y'all need to get out these people's room and leave them alone. So Robert called the sheriff and got the sheriff to allow the parents to keep their kids when CPS was right there trying to take the kid. So I'm telling you guys, good things are happening in Arizona. Of course, you're going to see some feet dragging because this is the kids cleaning up their room. They don't really want to do it, but they're starting to learn, and we're teaching them. So we're good with it. You start taking action, you start doing the right thing. I don't care if you got a little attitude at first, we're going to fix that. But we have to continue to move forward and actually give them notice of what their jobs are. So they can no longer say we didn't know that we could do that. When the legislature gave subpoenas to the board of supervisors, they had to get trained and taught that they could actually write subpoenas. You could share the video on YouTube. There's a little funny little curved arrow button. You click on that, it'll allow you to share it to other places. And please, everybody, share this everywhere. This is super important, guys, for us to know our power and our rights. I think we are at a crossroads in America where the people have realized that the government has been teaching us backwards and that we are the rulers and leaders and they are the servants. and that they have a duty to do what our will is and not their own. And they don't get to write legislation to remove our rights and liberties. They don't get to do that. If you look at the case Miranda versus Arizona, it tells you where rights secured in the Constitution are involved, there should be no legislation or rulemaking which would abrogate them. Abrogate means to get rid of, dissolve them, take them away. So they can't even write legislation or make rules to get rid of our rights or liberties as the people. So when we have in the Constitution where it says we have the right to life, liberty, and property, and it cannot be taken without due process of law or jury of our peers, if they took your kids and didn't use a jury, they broke the law. And we're finding out. And everybody else is going to find out. And we're going to come back and collect the kids. It's only a matter of time before everybody knows. This is why they kill your Facebook. This is why they kill my Twitter. They did this simply because they know that I'm telling everybody how to win. That's why they're doing it. And so I don't mind. You're teaching me that I'm a winner. You're teaching me that everything that God has put into me has worked. You're teaching me that because your attorneys can't fight me and they can't fight the people I work with or who I help learn for 2 or 3 weeks, that you have to silence our voices because you're not ready for that fire that we bring. And I'm cool with that. So what I'm going to do is let you guys have this video. I want to thank you guys for coming on. I want to thank you guys for standing strong and listening. I want to thank you guys for being tough in all your different states. Many of you on this video are on the forefront of the fight. You are where I was 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago, 3 years ago. 2.5 years ago to 3 years ago, I didn't know any of this. I didn't have any help when it came to standing in Arizona. I remember me and Dale McCardle were outside the legislature, and I was holding a sign with a suit jacket on, big as heck, probably 270, 280 pounds. I'm a lot lighter now, right? A lot more healthy. But I was standing there with a sign and saying, Chang, I need you to tell me how you heard about me. I don't know who you are. I don't know your name, but I need to know how you heard about me and get some information about that because I'm sent agents all the time to tell me to help them so they can waste time or do stuff. So I don't know who you are. So I would like to know who you are and how you heard of me, and maybe we can discuss some things and try to help you. But what we got to understand, guys, is that um, you know there is a problem uh, when you first start because you by yourself. Um, Google I research. I'm not really on Google like that, so you're gonna have to explain to me what it is. Um, so anyway, guys, um, you got to understand that you're going to be alone sometimes fighting. You're going to be alone sometimes um, struggling to push to get other people to learn the truth. Now, Diana Sharp was here. She can tell you. Robert Slavin was here. I don't know if he's on the video. Um, Katrina was here. What you guys will realize is that when I first started out, I was telling people of things that people thought like, oh, that almost sounds crazy, and then I showed it inside of the law. And I don't just say stuff I can't prove. I actually no conversation without documentation. I show you the documents, and then I tell you, look, let's read this together. Does it mean what it says it means? Is it simple or is it hard? And after we went through a process of actually learning, actually standing, and people saw me out there teaching the police, teaching government officials, standing up in meetings, going against the judges and showing them with trust law that they were breaking the law. And then they go and they tell on the legislature tell on the judges tell on CPS, right? What ends up happening is that we all got more comfortable, we learned more, and what seemed to be unbelievable became common knowledge, and now we're seeing kids coming back like crazy. And so we got to understand that every one of you has that same power. We have that same strength, and we can change the way that things work. And this is why they're trying to silence your voice. So this means if you stand harder and stronger now, you're going to do better and better and better. So, anyway, I'm going to catch you guys later. Um, God gets the glory. He's so mighty and powerful. I ask you guys to share this all over. Some of you guys are going to be able to share it even while it's live. But share it all over the place, guys. Let's get this out there. Let's get that truth going and help the people to see how they have victory. The victory is coming. The victory is right there. It is on the horizon. And have patience, guys. Take action like there's no tomorrow, but have patience on God's plan. Because I'll tell you, if I got my little guys back right away, I would have never learned all this, which means I couldn't help all the other people that I've been able to help. I couldn't help people with all this election stuff. I couldn't help people with the many different things that we've done and fought. I couldn't help educate the legislature because I would have been out having fun with my kids. And so when God is looking to use you for something, things can be taken away from you for a time until God is ready to give the victory. And that's okay. I'm fine with that. I'm good with it. People say, "Are you broken? You haven't seen him in 3 years. This January." No, I'm not broken. No, it's been 3 years actually. I'm not broken. Right? The system is falling and people are learning and we are growing. And I understand that this is like a battle. Some people go off in the military and serve 3 years in Iraq. Some people go off and serve 3 years in Afghanistan. They get shot at. They have pains. They get hurt. They don't see their family. Don't talk to their kids. And then they come back and they love their kids and they see them. Well, if God chooses to use me for something to help people fight, it is what it is. Let's ball. Let's go. Because God is victorious. God is mighty and powerful. And I love my God. And so he can use me for whatever he needs to use me for. And I'm rocking and rolling with him. And we in it to win it. Right? So you guys be cool. Stay out of trouble. I love you guys. That's right. The people working in the state, as Diana Sharp said, are misdirected. They're not taught the law for real. And when we start teaching them, they start realizing, like, holy crap, the attorneys didn't tell me all this stuff was in the Constitution. Right? So let me get with you guys later. I'm going to get to work on some stuff or whatever. And if the Lord wills, I'll live and be able to see you guys again and talk to you soon. But anyway, I want to catch you guys later. Y'all stay out of trouble. Y'all be cool. Peace.